Hi, I'm Darby, and thanks for tuning in to a Magic the Gathering Arena video about a best of one Azorius Mutate standard deck. This is a deck I brewed up. It did get me to Mythic this season. Just fell out of grace from the top 1500, but hoping to climb back in soon. The deck itself, like I said, is built around the Mutate mechanic. When Ikoria was released, I really loved the idea of Mutate, wanted to explore it. I originally built this deck to see if I could mutate onto creatures several times and then Flood of Tears to return it back with the trigger. If you're not familiar with Flood, it it returns all non-land permanents, and then if you control 4 more non-token permanents, you can put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sadly, with 4 mutates, it only counts that as 1 permanent. So, in case you were wondering, that's the answer. But this deck wants to go wide with mutate. The way we're doing that is by always having a turn 2 play in the form of Hushbringer, Polywog Symbiote, or Lazotep Plating. We really want a non-human creature on turn 2 to start mutating onto and get ahead of our opponent. Hushbringer main deck seems a little odd, but it really does help us out. A flying lifelink 1/2 is a great mutate target, and the passive ability helps us out in a lot of matchups that are in the meta right now. Polywog Symbiote is the heart of the deck. It's going to help us churn through the deck very fast. Whenever we cast a mutate creature, we can loot, and then it also reduces the cost of our mutate creatures. This ability will stack if we have multiple Polywog Symbiotes out too. Lazotep Plating, I think, is a very undervalued spell in the meta right now. It's a great protection. It gives all of your lands, your permanents, everything, and you hexproof. And it amasses 1, which is in fact a non-human target for our mutate. We can do that at instant speed as well, which is very, very good. The win cons are going to be a little combo between Cub Warden and Huntmaster Liger. Cub Warden will pop out 2 1/1 white cat creatures with lifelink, and Huntmaster Liger will pump all of our other creatures equal to the number of times this creature is mutated. So the dream hand for us is turn 2 Polywog Symbiote, turn 3 Cub Warden, which gives us 3 creatures, and then 2 Huntmaster Ligers on turn 4, which we can cast with reduced cost from Polywog Symbiote. That'll let us swing in on turn 4 for 21 lifelink damage. Pretty good. Vulpikeet is in the deck. It gives us evasion. It's also a cheaper mutate cost and a +1/+1 counter. This helps us out in red matchups, gets us out of range of that red removal. Majestic Oricorn gives us vigilance and 4 life when we mutate. It's just a pretty decent card. Dreamtail Heron lets us draw cards, just pure draw, no loot, and it's also a 3/4 with evasion. Pouncing Shore Shark for control. Lets us bounce our opponent's creatures at instant speed. It also lets us play around with the mana cost of the creature at instant speed, say against Extinction Event or Elspeth Conquers Death, etc. It won't help us out with Elspeth Conquers Death, but we can still get the ability by tucking it underneath, say, a Hushbringer or Polywog Symbiote. We have Archipelagore at the top end, which is a really fun card to play if you haven't yet. It's not maybe fun if you're on the other side of the table, but this is an alternate win con for us. We can put this on any of the cats that are created by the Cub Warden as well, if targeted removal takes away our big mutate creature, and it's still a very decent threat. Then we also have Time Wipe as a sweeper, but this is a one-way sweeper for us in a way. It lets us return a creature we control, and if that's our Voltron mutate creature, we would actually really, really like that. It gets things back in our hand. We start mutating more. The game starts going in our favor. We have a couple one-ofs in Clear the Mind, which is just to bring our graveyard back into the deck with a lot of looting we're doing with Polywog Symbiote. Heliod's Intervention to remove any pesky enchantment or artifact-based removal such as Banishing Lights or Conclave Tribunals, Glass Caskets, etc. Witching Well to scry into our turn 2 play if we don't have one in our opening hand, and then it lets us draw cards mid to late game. Land base, we have 4 shocks, 4 temples, 2 each of the castles and the colors. I have thought of maybe including Blast Zone in this list. I haven't done that. If you're going to take this list and run with it, please do think about including Blast Zone and let me know how that works for you. I'd be very interested to know. But aside from that, I think we'll hop into some games here and see how the gameplay goes. We'll do a standard event here. Let's make sure we have the right deck here. Alright. And let's see how this goes. I am recording this around the time of M21 spoilers. I haven't seen anything specifically that I'd like to include in this. Red seems to be getting a lot of pretty neat cards, though. This isn't the best hand. We'd like to see a bit more play, but you know what? I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this is a lot better. I'm going to tuck this Time Wipe. We'd like to see a third land to then Vulpikeet onto the Lazative Plating token. Our opponent is playing white. Dave the Day. I see what you did there, Dave. Okay, if we can find our Hushbringer, that'll be great in this matchup for all this life gain. Look at that. Third land right off the top, just like we planned it. Maybe we can race our opponent. My guess is they will be running some kind of enchantment-based removal. Hopefully we can dodge that. What we really don't want to see is a Heliod here. I find it difficult to race a perfect Daxos Heliod curve. Okay. Pouncing Shore Shark is great for these Pridemate decks, to bounce the Pridemate constantly. Oh, our opponent's playing Azorius as well. Interesting. Okay, we'll give a little scry. I am inclined to keep Time Wipe there. That's... I'm okay seeing that. So we'll just try to keep pressure on here. Cub Warden next turn while we stall out to find a 5th land. The Cub Warden tokens will help us block out our opponent here. Protection, we don't really care about with the Time Wipe. Whoa! Why are you running Hushbringer, sir? That doesn't really work. With your Daxos, at least. Okay, so we'll put this one over. Get a little extra beef on this zombie token. And like I said before, it's the cubs from this Cub Warden will also be mutate targets as backup in case targeted removal removes the Warden itself. There's the Heliod. Okay. All of the triggers in the world. Alright. That is pretty darn good. So we'll swing in for 9. We'll actually swing in with the token as well, just to get some more life gain. And even though this won't deal with Heliod, at least it will shut him off for the time being. And we'll get a little restock here. Yes, they will get counters on their Heliod. There's an argument to be made there for mutating on with the Majestic Auricorn. We would have gotten 2 counters plus another power from the Auricorn, but that wouldn't have been enough to take them out, so I like this line a bit better. Okay, another Cub Warden. I think we'll lead with this. Leading with this because if we draw a 6th land, we can double mutate next turn with the 2 Vulpikeets. And perhaps our opponent's plan here is to just grow their Hushbringer as much as possible. I know I said it before, but again, seeing a Pouncing Shore Shark in this matchup would be phenomenal. Okay, well at least that's a 6th land. We can double mutate this turn. We'll go under. Get some counters. We'll shock. We don't really care about the life right now, since we're gaining a bunch of life. Under again. All right. Good call. So we have a couple of draws here to win us the game, as long as our opponent doesn't commit too much more to the board. We have that Pouncing Shore Shark, like I said. We also have a Huntmaster Liger. I think our opponent sees what's coming, so we get the victory. Pretty decent showcase of what the deck can do. Full disclosure, the deck does struggle against just straight up control. It's difficult for us to get back into it. The Pouncing Shore Shark does give us a way to do that, as well as Lazotep Plating, but if we see a Teferi Time Raveler, it's very difficult to come back. Okay, turn 2 Poliwag Symbiote, turn 3 Shore Shark. Some utility right here. This will also let us loot for more things. I like it. Rootless Cosmopolitan. I don't know if that's referencing a drink or a person. All I know is they're rootless. Mono red, perhaps? As long as they don't have a lava coil, we're doing all right in this matchup. Okay, cool. For fear of removal, I want to get 4 toughness on the board with the Oricorn. The better play might be to just take the Steamkin off the board immediately with the Shore Shark, but the life gain will help us out. This puts pressure on the board too. We'll get rid of the tap land here. Heliod's Intervention in this matchup can help us take out Cavalclades or Anaxes, but I'm inclined to build towards the Time Wipe itself. We'll do this main phase to see if we get a tap land that will play. Not the case. I'm going to get rid of the Intervention. I like the idea of Time Wipe better, and Plating's pretty good in this matchup as well. We'll bottom this, keep the 4 toughness, bounce a Steamkin, the one with counters obviously. And swing in. Oh, excellent play, opponent. Very, very cool. Well, they got us there. That's a-okay. We can rebuild with the Plating and the Cub Warden. 5th land on top is great. We'll play it tapped. Alright, I don't think Robert targets, right? Yeah, doesn't. So they'll steal something from us. A Vulpikeet. That is just rude. We'll play a zombie. We'll mutate over the zombie. gives us a nice 4/6 body here. No summoning sickness. And we'll try to scry into some other things here. Let's see. I believe we have less cards than our opponent, so nothing will get robbed unless they dump their hand. This is a nice time of the game to see a Witching Well. It's one of the reasons I included it in the deck, to just give us a way to restock mid-game. Embercleave is fine. Huntmaster Liger is what we want to see off the top. Fervent Champion. Okay. Are you going to spend that Steamkin mana? That's the question. I believe they're thinking about playing the Vulpikeet. Something to note is they cannot mutate the Vulpikeet. Mutate is over a target non-human creature you own. Fantastic. Look at that. Like I called it, right off the top. We'll go under. We'll pump the team. This is a trade on the Vulpikeet. Or not a trade, the Vulpikeet dies no matter what they block. We're also going to gain 10 life here. Keeps us out of range of that Embercleave. Champion is good. Okay, no blocks. Alright. Well, we'll just keep on going with the Mutate game here. This is making our time life better and better. A block with the Steamkin on the Cub Warden will kill it, so I'm just going to swing in with the tokens here. They are essentially disposable for us, and we get 4 more anyway. And we're swinging for 16 lifelink with them. So our opponent has decisions to make. We probably had game there, but I don't know what our opponent has, and that's enough for them, so. Well, yeah, dealt with mono red pretty handily there. We have time for one more. No turn 2 play. Turn 2 play. We'll keep this, and this is the perfect mulligan. Clear the mind right on the bottom where we want to see it. Last card we draw. Mono red again, and we did get our 3rd land, even though we didn't need it with the symbiote, but we'll go symbiote into Vulpikeet again this game. See if we can get out of range of the red removal. We're not going to fall for that, opponent. You can have your 1 damage. So, I'm going to do this first to see what we loot into. We'll keep that. We'll drop a land and a Witching Well to try and set up our next draws here. We'd love to see a second white source. It's a tapped one. Lassitep Plating doesn't do a lot with us here. This doesn't target. I'm gonna bottom both of these actually. And we're not gonna block. We'll just swing. We'd like to get some lifelink on the board. We will gain some life with Majestic Auricorn. We'll play that next turn most likely. There's another land, but again we want another white source. So let's see if we can loot into it. Not quite. The Shore Shark is quite valuable. Hushbringer will be great in this matchup too with the Annex. I'm gonna pitch this Vulpikeet. We'll go over here. Life encounters. Okay, so if they Embercleave this turn, that's 6, 7, 14 from Annex. And another 4 here. So it's 18. So we have to block one of these, and we potentially lose the Auricorn. Annex will just straight out kill our creatures, so we'll block here. This keeps us alive. If they choose to Embercleave onto the Steamkin, we're at least not taking as much damage. That's unfortunate. I think we lose out. Maybe we should have left up the Shore Shark. Well, our only hope is to see if our opponent is cocky, so... And it looks like they're not taking any chances. Yeah. Well played, opponent. We'll block here. So we do lose to mono red there. It happens sometimes, but I think the deck has some pretty decent game. We didn't face control. Like I said, it is a hard matchup for us, but the deck has power. No perfect hand for us this time around either, but hopefully you did see the power of the Hamaster Liger with the Cub Warden. If you have any questions about the deck, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And again, I'd love to hear how you guys do with this list if you choose to use it. Thanks for tuning in. Keep having fun out there, and good luck. I'll see you next time.